Hey everyone, Jenny here with Sipping Streams Tea Company, and today I wanted to go over some fun things you can do with tea. So for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Jenny. I'm the owner and founder of Sipping Streams Tea Company. I'm a certified tea specialist with the Specialty Tea Institute, and I have also won 11 international competitions for our teas, for preparing teas, and for our tea blends. So we're a company out of Fairbanks, Alaska, but we sell in over 500 locations. One of my greatest passions is to transform people's lives, to help them to know who they are through health and wellness and through tea. And so today I want to share with you about kombucha. We get a lot of questions about kombucha. What is kombucha? Is it really that good for you? What are the different brands of kombucha that are out there? And so I wanted to show you that we actually make our own kombucha at Sipping Streams. This is actually my own homebrew kit. So I use the continuous brew method, and that's also what we do at Sipping the Stream. So currently we are growing our production of kombucha, and we have just moved into our second 50-gallon barrel of kombucha. So one of the easiest things that you can do with starting off on making kombucha and scaling up is to make sure that your SCOBY is well taken care of. Your SCOBY is this growth or this big old kind of like gelatinous membrane, which is essentially a cluster, a colony of a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. And that's what SCOBY stands for. It's actually an acronym. And when you're making kombucha, there are many different factors that you need to account for. You need to account for the tea that's in there. Sometimes you can do herbal blends too. You need to account for the amount of sugar or some sort of food source that the yeast can feed off of. And you also need to account for the temperature too. So one of the easiest ways to have your SCOBY or your kombucha go bad or moldy is to have it too cold of a temperature or too hot of a temperature. You typically want it around the 68 to 88 degrees temperature. And so you want to keep your kombucha liquid that has your mother SCOBY. So some people have it as an actual disc, but ours, we just keep utilizing it because that thick membrane is really a dense cluster of the colony of all those different microbes in there together. So we actually don't really get rid of our brown SCOBY or a brown mother. We don't usually peel it off because we're growing our production line. And if you get rid of the SCOBY and you're trying to grow more and more faster production of kombucha, you're actually hindering your production. So we typically don't sell any of our SCOBYs unless we are giving it in the kit. So we actually offer our kombucha culture class online. So you can click on the link, and if you go to sippingstreams.com, it's at the bottom or halfway through the page, and you can see that we actually teach 3 classes online where we send you the kit, all the materials you need, and the bottles for the kombucha. And it's a 1-month course with all the teas and the sugars and the filters that you can possibly need. What's really helpful is having an actual little thermometer, like temperature reader, on your jar to know what the temperature of your kombucha is, to make sure that it's in that safe range. Typically in normal food manufacturing, it's not a safe range. It's kind of an unsafe temperature. You're wanting things really, really cold. You don't want them kind of semi-warm. But with the nice summers that are happening right now, the warm temperatures, our kombucha is just exploding right now. And that's what you're wanting. You're wanting this symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast to grow. And that's why usually in food safety, you want bacteria not to grow. But in kombucha, that's what you're doing. That's what makes it that acidic, vinegary flavor. And typically, this would be an old style, like original way of making vinegar, essentially. And that's why it has very similar health benefits to vinegar. It helps with digestion. It helps with cellular growth and healthy growth. Helps with your gut health, definitely. And it really depends on your body, but most people can drink kombucha. Some people who can't really drink kombucha are people who have a great imbalance of the acids in their stomach, especially if you're an alcoholic. Actually, it's actually shown research that has kind of hindered people who are alcoholics, but that's because their whole gut health needs to change overall. And so you can slowly wean your way. Some people have asked me a question also, like, how do you have a tea that helps fight alcoholism? Yeah, this kombucha. Kombucha actually produces some amount of alcohol in it, but it does have the yeast that a lot of people might crave who are used to drinking beer, which is very interesting. We have actually taught classes in our tea house. And one thing that one of the students said was he was switching to kombucha because when he noticed he started drinking kombucha for that craving of, wanting to go to the bar or something, he has never felt that craving again since he started drinking kombucha. And probably because he's getting that craving for maybe some of the yeast and the bacteria, that kind of microculture in your body. So this is a homebrew method that you can easily order with the kit, with the teas, with the bottles for secondary fermentation, all that stuff. So you can go online at sippingstreams.com or find the link and sign up for the kombucha culture class, and we send that to you with 4 weeks of videos on how to do step-by-step home brewing, continuous brewing, and how to flavor it. But in the meantime, most people really enjoy kombucha because of its kind of fizziness. So when you go to the grocery store, now kombucha is wildly popular. It's exploded. There's whole sections in grocery stores that are all just ready to go kombuchas in a bottle, in a can. You can even get it on tap with a growler. We actually serve it on tap at the tea house, and we can sell you growlers, kegs of it too, for your tap house, tap room, for home brew, like parties if you want. If you got a kegerator at home, we do sell it by the glass, we sell it by the growler, we sell it by the keg, however you'd like it to be. But an easy way to enjoy this nice summery beverage is having it already bottled. So that's why it's so popular in the stores right now. But actually, most of the time, when people are getting their kombucha at the store, it's kind of fizzy, and you're like, why is it more fizzy this brand than this other brand? It's actually carbonated with CO2 coming out of their tap or their growler or whatever it needs to pressurize and to push the kombucha liquid into the bottling phase or the canning phase. So there is some CO2 that is used because they're trying to bottle it very quickly, and even for us too. So unless we're getting it straight out of the jar or we're getting straight out of our continuous brew barrel, usually it'll be a little bit more fizzy if it's been through an apparatus to quickly fill bottles, fill cans, fill growlers, fill kegs. It all can be affected by CO2, and that's why you'll get some variation of why some kombucha companies are more fizzy than others. It is not actually from the second fermentation that you get the super fizziness. It will have some fizziness with your natural continuous brew. Like, so for me at home, I would probably pull out my SCOBY that's in here, and then I would pour it through a funnel into my bottle for my second fermentation. And if I left this on the kitchen counter for about a week, it will actually create some gas because of the brewing process. Same thing with beers too. Same thing of anything that has some alcohol in it that you make. So it will create some gas within my second fermentation by just leaving it out and letting the microbes do its thing in the liquid kombucha. You might not see an actual SCOBY growth on here, but you can already see on here that there is some fizziness on there because of its second fermentation process. In fact, if I shake it a little bit, it's like actually not that good in case the bottle explodes or starts leaking on me. It has gases in it because it's just a byproduct of the symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast that are in there. If you have any questions at all, write them down below. I'd love to hear your questions on what you want to learn about in kombucha. But also, a very, very easy way to flavor your kombuchas is to either use juice or just use fruit. With summer going on, lots of people have gardens, people have apple trees, People have, different fruits, the local farmers markets that you can get some fruits. And all you have to do is when you have your empty bottle or container or even a mason jar, right? So even if I have a mason jar here and I'm going to use that solid plastic lid on it, I can just drop some fruit in there, and the SCOBY, the symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast, which you won't see in the liquid kombucha because it's not dense enough yet, that bacteria and yeast is all in the liquid, and it's going to start feeding on the sugars of the fruit. And with that chemical change, sorry about the microbiology part, with that chemical change, you're going to get the flavors of whatever your fruit is. So here, I did the same thing, but with mango. And so I put frozen mango bits in here. It could be room temperature. It doesn't matter. But when you use something that's cold, the metabolic process slows down. Like, think about you. Like, when you're really cold, you kind of slow down. You want to heat up. You want to go a little faster to warm up. But anything that is cold is just going to slow down the metabolic process until it warms up again. However, in the continuous brew, you don't want it to be too cold because it doesn't allow that semiotic culture of bacteria and yeast to do its thing as fast as unhealthy molds can take over. So it is still tea in there, and you can possibly be affected by tea going bad by too low of a temperature unless it was fridged. So there's this unsafe temperature zone about, 68 degrees to fridge temperature, that anywhere in there, unhealthy things can grow in the tea itself. Not in the kombucha. Unfortunately, because the tea is the medium for the kombucha, that's how you get green fuzzy mold in there. So you want to get it boosted above that temperature, put it somewhere warm. You can even put it on top of your refrigerator, and you have that compressor or there to keep your refrigerator chilled, and it's actually kind of like a warm pad for it too. So I recommend keeping it somewhat kind of warm, but not hot. Now, there are different kinds of kombucha out there that are sold. There's raw kombucha, something like this, that will be for your continuous brew. But then there's also the non-raw kombucha. And what that means is that it's been ultra heated. It's actually been pasteurized, so nothing can grow and it's shelf stable. So what you have to worry about that is if you're drinking it for health benefits, for those microbes to be alive in there, to promote gut health and to introduce those probiotics into your gut, if you're drinking a pasteurized, shelf-stable kind, you're not getting as much as those probiotics because they've been neutralized by being ultra heated, and that's why they're not alive anymore. So if you're wanting it for positive gut health and not just a fun, fizzy drink, you want a raw version. And that's why homebrew is really easy to do, or you can buy kombucha from many places like us where we can fill it for you, and we have a continuous raw method of making our kombucha, which is essentially leaving it out in a self-contained barrel that keeps other, impurities out of the barrel so that, we're not growing anything yucky. So anyways, thank you so much for joining me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And I hope you really enjoyed this option of kombucha, or if you ever wondered what kombucha was. Definitely think about signing up for the kombucha culture class. Like I said, everything's included. The jar, the cloth, the teas, multiple teas, the filters, the sugars, all the bottles for your secondary fermentation, everything you need is in the kit in the class and addresses all of those questions you have about kombucha. It's a great way to get started today. So check out our other online classes that we have available. And for those of you who don't know, sometimes we do free challenges, and that's in our Sipping Streams Tea Tribe private Facebook group. So just look up the Sipping Streams Tea Tribe private Facebook group if you're on Facebook, or if you're not, you can just sign up for our next challenge, the 5 days of tea, which starts July 27th, all about the world of tea. It's free, actually, so you just need to go to bit.ly/5 days of tea and sign up there. You can even take the 5 days of tea challenge even if you don't have Facebook or Instagram. So definitely check it out because you'll be sent the videos, and every day you can win amazing prizes. You learn a lot of amazing content about tea, health benefits of tea, recipes with tea, and things like that. So definitely think about sharing that out with your friends and family. And we can't wait to see you again next Tuesday at 4:30 Alaska Standard Time, where we'll be having one of our amazing guests show and talk about how tea can really be good for encouraging and promoting lip health, and how you can put it on topically on your skin to actually increase your cells to grow in a healthy way and to combat different types of skin ailments. So we hope you join us again next Tuesday at 4:30 p.m. Alaska Standard Time, and we'll introduce you to one of our amazing Sipping Streams members, who will show you about this thing that they've made and invented, all for helping with your skin and your topical applications with tea. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you again soon.